Gladys Toscano, and welcome to G's Place. This is my very first show, and my very first guest is the Oak Bluffs Chief of Police, Erik Blake. Thank you, Chief, for joining me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, tell us, how long have you been the Chief of Police of Oak Bluffs?
Since 2003.
2003, 9 years.
Yeah, going on. It was January 13th. I took over for Joe Carter, and it was actually the first day that we got accredited as a police department, and that was my assignment, my task. And so we went from not having policies and procedures all the way through full accreditation, and the same day that we got accredited, I got sworn in as acting chief.
Oh.
So it was a very memorable day.
Very memorable.
I've been in Oak Bluffs, I've been on the island my whole life, but I worked for Oak Bluffs since 1987.
In the police department?
Mm-hmm. 26
Wow.
years, yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us, what is the most challenging part of your job as the Chief of Police?
Challenging. Well, when I think about that question, I think locally and I think globally. I really do. You know, locally, recently in the past few years, it's been you know, budget cuts. It's no mystery to anybody, especially people live in Oak Bluffs, that you know we've had some financial problems, and with that, everyone's taken the blow. Our budgets have been cut; they've been level funded. So when you're trying to you know, police, and you're trying to maintain services, and you know, I look at law enforcement as, you know, law enforcement is only one tool in a police officer's bag. It takes many things to be a police officer. So with that is, you know, programs and projects and initiatives that we want to do. And, you know, I'm a big advocate for community policing, obviously, but, you know, and community policing doesn't take a lot of money, per se, to do. It's a, you know, it's a theory, it's a way of doing business, but doing certain programs and offering certain things does take money. You know, I used to be able to inspect every, like, child car seat for anyone in Martha's Vineyard. I'd have the officers do it. Yeah. Now I do it for Oak Bluffs residents, but I had to have other police departments step up and say, we're going to do it as well, because I couldn't afford to have my people do everybody.
When you say everybody, you mean all the towns?
All the towns.
Oh, wow.
Everybody from every town would come to our police station and have one of my certified instructors show them the right way to install the car seat. Again, it's a community initiative that I thought was important.
That's admirable. Quite admirable.
There's a, you know, but as another challenge, it's actually, you know, championing yourself. You know, a lot of people think you have to be real type A to be a police chief. Well, certain times you do have to have a type A personality, but other times it's doing things because they're right, or doing things because it's a matter of course. When really, you know, a challenge for me is to make sure that everybody that's a constituent knows that we're doing these things. And globally, unfortunately globally, the profession itself, when something tragic or awful happens, it sets our profession back. You know, and then it takes a while to, you know, whether it's locally trying to rebuild that trust, because we're all painted with one broad brush, or it's just the profession in itself. So that's a real challenge when you see something that you would never live with happen in your profession, and you know, people tend to think that everybody's that way when it's just not the case. No,
it's quite evident by your personality and your compassion for what you do that you do the extra. And a lot of times, unfortunately in law enforcement, it's just about the job and not the extras. And having that knowledge, a lot of times when you're doing something, if you don't have the knowledge, as a father, the child seat issue is something that hits home with you, because you have children. You have 3 children. So you've been there and you know how important it is, the safety of children in automobiles. Okay, so having said that now, when you get all these people that come on the Vineyard in the summer, and we talked about that, that's what initiated this conversation, because I asked the chief, I said, what does it take to police the town of Oak Bluffs during the busiest time of the season? And he was gracious enough to give me the interview. And what I'd like to know is, when you're doing this sort of thing and you're planning it, do you have prior knowledge of all the activities and the events that are scheduled on the Vineyard for the summer?
Well, I wouldn't say all the events, but I'd say most of the events. That's one of the great things about Oak Bluffs, is that we are the home to pretty much anything fun you want to do in the summertime. That's not to disparage
I
any other
agree.
town. But if you think about what there is to do, and you know, you asked me before, you know, do I know about it, and do the selectmen, you know, ask me about it? I actually have a very good working relationship with them in that way that, you know, anything that needs to be approved at a selectmen's meeting for a parade, a road race, a concert, they don't say yes unless they've actually checked with me and made sure that the people that are organizing it have checked with us to make sure that it's going to be something we can do. So we are actually right now planning for next summer. So it's right now we're starting our hiring process for next summer, because it's a long process. I call them kids now, but the young men and women we hire in the summertime, it's a lot of training that goes into being able to work for us. So right now we're actually scouring colleges and putting it out on the internet, and you know, using social media, everything we can to get the right pool of people to come to work for us in the summertime. So that part of it is starting already. When we have an event like Illumination Night or fireworks, we've done those things for 26 years now. So we have 26 years of history on what works good and what doesn't work. Every year something new gets thrown into it, or something different, something changes. So that's when we sit down as a command staff and with the officers and say, okay, this part of this is different this year, so how are we going to problem solve this issue for this year? So, you know, it's not going to not happen. So we have to plan for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically what you do is take the previous year's experience and tweak whatever new came along, so that you're more or less prepared for the coming season.
Sure. I mean, it's very cliche, but the expression "lessons learned," big in this field. What went right, what went wrong. You know, this year after fireworks was over, I sat down with my officers and my command staff. I said, I couldn't believe it. We had the least amount of staff we've ever had, but downtown cleared out, traffic-wise, downtown quicker than I ever remember it. What went right? How do we figure that out? Because you know, that was a real win for us. And you know, and by 10:30, I was able to say, okay, we can start sending some people home. We can start doing other things. And you know, there's been times where it's been 11:30 at night, and we're still going, oh my gosh, the traffic's still backed up at Four Corners. So little wins, you know.
Is there a way that you can tell us how many people actually visited the island this past summer?
Well, I'm like anyone else. I look at, obviously the steamship was up. I look at our calls for service, and part of the preparation for big weekends or big events is having outreach to the inns and the hotels and car rental places and saying, hey, how busy are you? What's it like compared to last year at this time? And everyone's very honest about whether they're doing good or bad. So I personally feel like there were much more people this year. And younger.
It seemed like it.
And younger. Yeah.
It seemed like it. Because I just spent my second summer on the Vineyard. And I find that it's amazing what takes place in July and August, especially in August.
Sure.
And mostly in Oak Bluffs. Because you also have all the activities and the events taking place, the daily nightlife, and then the ferries also operate.
Sure, yeah.
So I was very curious about how that works.
Yeah, Tisbury is a year-round port for Martha's Vineyard, obviously, but in Oak Bluffs you have the Steamship Authority, the High Line, the Island Queen, you know, the Rhode Island Fast Ferry. So there's just an influx of people coming and going all day long. So, and you know, it's amazing that you're right. I get so, in the summertime, you're so busy, and so many things are coming at you, and so many decisions need to be made. It's this time of year, and you know, through the spring, where you try to plan and get things ready, because it's a different type of leadership. You know, this time of year, I can be more democratic and laissez-faire about how we handle things, and you know, letting people make decisions and come with their best ideas. In the summertime, it gets so crazy sometimes that it's just autocratic leadership. You know, we're doing this tonight and we're doing it this way. You know, and meanwhile, I still have to remember that we have, you know, over 4,000 residents that live here year round that still expect police services and still expect, you know, that we're going to take care of them as well. That
their police department and their chief of police is going to look out for them.
That's right. It's their department. You know, we have, the old Sir Robert Peel, the community are the police and the police are the community. It's definitely true.
Well, I really do think you do a good job. I paid attention to one of the Board of Selectmen meeting. I wasn't at the meeting, but we view it on Channel 15, the government channel. And I noticed you talking about the courtesy and the training that you're initiating town-wide to get people to be more on point with services and diligently providing those services. Like, that's not my department, go somewhere else. You want to make it so that everybody can answer the questions of the person asking. And that's definitely good service. That's hands-on good service.
The whole point, and Bob Rittenauer, who's the new town administrator, we were talking about community policing in general, and what are my initiatives and what do we do, and I brought up a training I wanted to do, which is a training we've done before, but I wanted a refresher on. It's a SARA model. It's scanning, analysis, response, and assessment. And it's basically how you tackle a problem. And a very close friend of mine who's on the International Chiefs of Police Community Policing Committee, he's the chairman. He teaches not only that training, but community governance. Now, community governance is taking the principles of community policing, which is partnerships, stakeholders, not taking complete ownership of everything yourself, being transparent. There's no secret police stuff. We all have a hand in it.
It's a team effort.
Absolutely. You can't. I think you asked me to come on because I love to talk.
But it's not that you love. You know what it is, Chief? It's honestly. When I asked you the question at the race, I expected. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I expected to get that usual police, and keep it moving. But when I asked you the question, you just opened up, and you were so informative, and so like you could tell that you have the compassion. You care about your job. You care about what you do, and you're always looking to make it better. It's not like this is it and that's it. This is my job. I'm going home. You want to make things better.
Yeah, I do.
And it's so obvious. It's not that you talk a lot. I don't think you talk a lot. It's one thing to talk a lot, but when you have something good to say,
thank you.
Yeah, we want to hear what you have to say.
You told me not to start laughing.
No, but I really think it's important that the people on Martha's Vineyard in general, and then specifically the town of Oak Bluffs understands who you are and how dedicated you are to them and taking care of Oak Bluffs. Because I think you do an amazing job. You're at events, you cover it, you make sure that everybody knows you, you're very personable, and it's good that you care. And then as far as people coming on the island and visiting, you want them to feel that the services are here, just ask us. We're here for you. Just ask.
I mean, you're right. That model, and it's not that you have to tell people they're doing anything wrong, in our local government, but the principles of what we're talking about are, for example, we did it just 2 weeks ago after this training with the library, and the library director Sandra, I'm sorry, she reached out to me and she said, I have an issue. I have a problem. Not to really get into what the problem was, but it was about how they close up and people being left in the library. And it really scared some of the employees. And so, she emailed the town administrator, and he emailed me and said, oh, what do you think about this? I said, well, I think this is a perfect opportunity to do what we just learned. So we sat down and I brought in the stakeholders, the employees, the IT people, the police, the employees and the users of the library, and sat down and said, okay, what are the issues? How did this happen? What is our plan to resolve it? And then who can do these steps to resolve it? And then, 2-3 months from now, let's see how well it worked. And part of this whole theory, if you will, is being able to say, okay, guess what? It didn't work that great. Let's try it again. Let's try something else. Let's try something new. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, my idea wasn't that great and it didn't work out, or it had an adverse effect on something else. So that's part of the whole thing, is bringing in people. The old expression with community policing is, crime is not a police problem. Crime is a community problem. And when you take complete ownership of crime, like, hey, guess what? I'm the police, we'll handle the crime, you just sit back. Then when it fails, I've got ownership of it. No, the police are the people that the community says, we're going to pay you full time to make sure that crime is solved. But everybody has a hand in it. And no one is going to help you do that unless you're open to their help. You know, that's part of it. You know, community policing, people go, oh, isn't community policing putting people on bicycles? No. That's a good program. It's a force multiplier. It helps people interact. You know, community policing isn't me as a chief walking up Circuit Avenue saying, hey, how you doing? No. That's great. I love doing it. That's fine. I don't mind getting out of my office. It's not community policing. Community policing is building partnerships and having the community trust that they actually have a voice and that they're safe in their community and that we're going to listen to them. That's what you always try to strive for. You know, do we get it right every time? No, of course not.
But see, that's the good part about it. It's because you're open to it, and you know that the first tryout may not work.
Sure.
So let's tweak it. Let's work together. Let's communicate, because a big part of community policing is communication. Everybody has to be open to listening to the other person's point of view, as the community has to listen to the police point of view, and the police have to listen to the residents' point of view.
That's right.
And then you have your structure, the government part of it. Everybody has to work together to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a good town like Oak Bluffs. See? So you are doing an excellent job. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I almost forgot. I heard a rumor.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, I heard a rumor. And I actually, how did it go? That you should, Coach said you should tell me about that touchdown you got against Nantucket.
Oh, my gosh. I knew you were going to bring it up again, too. Well, if everyone remembers the TV show Married with Children,
yes,
with Al Bundy had his Al Bundy moment with the one touchdown.
What's the high school?
Coach T, I love you. Absolutely love you. It's yeah, it was our Nantucket game, which is the big game, and I blocked a punt and ran it in for a touchdown, and we won the game 12-2. So it was the first time we'd beaten them, I think, in 9 years.
Wow.
So we were always losing to Nantucket, and that was the first time. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Everyone once in their life should be, you know, should be the superstar for at least 10 minutes. But I got more grilling about how slow I was.
Are you kidding?
Oh, Mike Joyce, who works at the school here, you know, if you listen to him, he's like, yeah, I was running backwards, telling him to come score. Oh, and of course, it was on video. I was like, that's when the first VHS tapes came out. My dad would play it all the time. He was just like so proud of me. Dad, it's just a touchdown. You know, come on.
No, but it probably meant a lot to him.
It meant,
and it means a lot to you too.
It did mean a lot to me because I made long-lasting, I mean, lifetime friendships doing sports. You know, and you know, I just hope, you know, like talking about my kids, whatever they choose to do. Of course, my kids are into sports as well, but that, you know, they get as many close friends that I got out of it. You know, that's important.
It's more than just friendships because it's a lot of discipline. It teaches you teamwork.
Sure. And
caring about the other guy. Yeah. And working together to make something happen. And it's the win.
Yeah.
It's the win.
The win I keep talking about, yeah.
It's the win.
I'm coaching youth football now, too.
Oh,
so
cool.
The 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So just,
that's
it's
a good
fun
age.
To see them. Yeah,
that's a good age.
Yeah, it's a good age.
Yeah. Does your son play?
My son's only 7.
Oh.
My son does karate, hockey, tennis, basketball. He does everything. So.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you want the people of Martha's Vineyard to know about you?
About me?
Yeah. We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
We know you have the compassion, but if I've left anything out, now is your opportunity to tell the people of Martha's Vineyard something about Chief Erik Blake.
Yeah. That, you know, I guess that I'm really proud to be from Martha's Vineyard. I was born in West Tisbury, you know, I think back and I was like, oh, well, what school did you go to? Well, I went to where the town hall is now. That was our school, in the West Tisbury Town Hall. You know, and people go, oh, well, geez, you know, you got this, you know, you graduated magna cum laude from college. Yeah, I did, but I graduated thank the laude from high school. You know, it's like, you know, I wasn't the perfect student. I'm just, you know, I was a local kid that, you know, I really fell in love with the profession. You know, and people ask me, oh, are you trying to go someplace else? And no, I love it here. I absolutely love it here. I love this community, and I love police work. You know. I heard a quote the other day, and I'm going to start using it because I love it. It was, you know, I never said it would be easy, but it would be worth it. You know, it's
Nice.
you know, it's challenging, but you know, it's when I get to do things like, honestly, like this, where I actually get to, you know, people are going to watch us and say, okay, I learned something new, or you know, that's different, or whatever. When you get one of those little wins, you know, and you help either your profession or your department or your town, it actually feels good. I mean, that's why they hired me, you know, and that's why I like doing it, you know. You know, I do a lot of running around with the kids, you know, if it's not hockey or dance class or whatever. But you know, I do like to play golf, and I'm terrible at it. I'll be completely honest with you, absolutely horrible at it. But one of the things I think people might not know is, you know, and this is my and I really have to take off my police hat and leave that there, because I don't engage in this because of my police hat. Is that, you know, I'm actually integral in, and I actually love doing, is, you know, the local chapter of the NAACP. It's something I believe in. It's something I've, you know, always have had an interest in. And then when I became police chief, you know, instead of saying, oh, okay, you know, when the NAACP wants to talk to you, you know, don't take that as adversarial. Take that as an opportunity.
Exactly.
You know. And then I said, well, if I'm going to go to the meetings, and then I, you know, made some friendships, and was asked to, you know, be part of the executive committee, and I said, absolutely, I would love to. You know, so it's.
And tell us your title.
Oh, right now, first vice president.
Of the Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard branch of the NAACP.
There you go.
Actually, you know, so, you know, that's a personal thing, you know, and so that, you know, that's one of the things I actually really enjoy doing. So, if anyone's out there, the second Sunday of the month at 2 p.m. at the Hillside Village Room in
Vineyard
Haven.
Haven. Yes,
So,
excellent.
yeah.
Well, this was wonderful.
Has it really been 20 minutes already?
I think it's great, and I just want to thank you so much for being my first guest. And it's so obvious your compassion and your love for what you do. And I thank you for sharing that with me and with the viewers of Martha's Vineyard. Thank you so much, and join me again. That was cool.
Was that good?
You good?
No, awesome.